고대인들은 세상의 북쪽 끝, 생존을 쉽게 허락하지 않는 극한의 땅인 이곳을 툴레라 불렀다. 세계의 신냉전의 차가운 그림자가 드리우고 있는 지금, 우리는 툴레로 간다.
So right now we are leaving Bardufoss and we are going towards Tromsø. But not all the way. I think we will find some soldiers that are fighting on the way. That is a military vehicle, so I think we are headed in the right direction. So it's harder for the drones to spot them. The drone and the enemy in general, they are hiding under the camouflage.
The camouflage is the white, right?
Yeah. With the scenery here, with the mountain and the cold weather, I think it's a really nice arena for everyone to train.
콜드 리스폰스, 나토의 북극 안보 능력을 시험하는 현장이다. 노르웨이와 미국, 양국의 군 지휘부가 한자리에 모였다는 것이 긴장과 위기의 무게를 드러낸다.
We operate together as one team. So thank you all for coming here. Next to me is Major General Salt.
We have about 3,000 Marines that came out of Tumac, out of Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. They joined a force, a joint as well as a multinational force of about 30,000. So it's been a great opportunity to work with our partners to rapidly deploy and more significantly work that partnership within NATO.
I think when you're looking at both the war in Ukraine, the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, that kind of illustrates the point about this is the time to really make sure that our military is modernized, that we are able to work together, and also demonstrating that to everyone who is paying attention.
동맹은 한 목소리로 결속을 말한다. 그러나 그 이면에는 세계가 주목하는 갈등이 있다.
So it's always risky. But I think a tremendous mistake was when NATO just wasn't there. It's going to make a lot of money for the United States because we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year on NATO, hundreds of protecting them. And we would have always been there for them, but now based on their actions, I guess we don't have to be, do we?
오랫동안 생존조차 쉽게 허락하지 않았던 북극. 그러나 얼음이 녹아내리면서 새로운 항로와 자원이 드러났고 강대국들의 이해가 충돌하기 시작했다.
Of course, as with the climate change, the Arctic is getting more easier to access. There are large resources here, everything from fisheries to oil and gas to rare earth metals. And also, this is an area where Russia has a large part of their nuclear forces. So also in a military strategic sense, this is really, really important for not only for Norway and the Nordics, but for NATO.
세계의 눈이 쏠리면서 오랜 평화도 깨졌다. 다시 극한의 땅이 된 이곳 툴레에서 그들은 어떻게 살아남아야 할까? 노르웨이와 러시아가 마주한 바다 바렌츠해. 한때 이곳은 협력의 공간이었다. 그러나 이제 팽팽한 긴장이 감돈다. 우리는 이 바다에서 키르케네스의 유일한 어부 켄트 선장을 만났다.
I started when I was around 8-10 years in Denmark. I come from Denmark, so and I'm fishing prawns, I'm fishing king crab, I'm fishing cod. Right now it's been a prawns fishing, so it's we go from port Sunday, and we're sailing out, shoot the gear, trolling in 6 to 8 hours.
평생을 이어온 일상의 평온함을 불쑥 침범하는 것은 유유히 지나가는 노르웨이 군함이다.
Did you see that kind of boat very often?
Yeah, it's but the sailing from around the coast from Thule and down here, so it's coming more this way and it's Putin here like to play with the muscles, and Norwegian do a little bit the same. It's show we are here. Yeah, so.
러시아와의 긴장은 이 지역의 안보뿐 아니라 경제에도 큰 타격을 준다.
In Kirkenes it have a big effect because like Kimek shipyard, big shipyard, have no Russian boat before. Before it was 95% of the work there, it was Russian boat. And the free stores and the places that take fish is a problem too because it's not so much fish coming in. So sanctions make a lot of problem for East Denmark too.
노르웨이 키르케네스는 러시아 국경과 맞닿은 전략적 요충지다.
Kirkenes and this municipality we are important on many levels. We are the eyes and ears of NATO today. We are the solution for European industrial autonomy. But we also have a unique history that binds us together. We are a typical blue-collar mining town. But we are the only Norwegian municipality that borders to Russia. I'm a mayor. My job is
국제사회에서 키르케네스는 최전선에서 러시아를 감시하는 역할도 하고 있다.
And there's no mayor's office in Norway that's like this, but of course here we have the Russian general consulate with Russian diplomats, and of course you see the car "Stop War, Stop Putin." So this is a place of enormous meaning and for Russian dissidents and exiled journalists.
이 작은 국경 도시에서 두 개의 러시아가 맞선다. 한쪽은 권력을 쥐인 자, 다른 한쪽은 그에 맞서는 이들이다. 키르케네스는 그 둘이 부딪히는 경계가 되었다.
We now have Russian exile journalists living in this city to use their human rights to be a free press and to tell the truth about what's happening in Russia. They have to come to Kirkenes because journalists in Russia are imprisoned, killed, and murdered. And we have had relations with Russia for the last 30 years. But Russia has become a totalitarian, authoritarian regime. Russia is not an opportunity anymore. It's a threat to Norway and European sovereignty and independence. So the phrase high north, low tension has now been exchanged with mistrust and the epiphany that Russia, unfortunately, has become the biggest threat to Norway and Europe. But as a mayor in this area, we have to be aware of geopolitics, geoeconomics, great power rivalry in the Arctic. It's something that becomes a part of their job.
키르케네스는 전쟁의 깊은 상처를 안고 있는 도시다. 우리는 제2차 세계대전 당시의 기억을 그대로 보존하고 있는 안데르스 그로타 방공호를 찾았다.
This area was always very important for Hitler. The iron ore mine, for example, he took in Second World War 25% of the iron ore he needed from this mine. 80% of the nickel he needed came from the nickel mine.
방공호는 일자리를 찾아 키르케네스에 온 광산 노동자 100여 명이 단단한 안반을 뚫어 만든 것이다. 한때 무려 1000여 명의 시민들이 이곳에 대피해 함께 목숨을 건졌다.
When the Germans started to attack through Murmansk, the Russians, they started to bomb here. More than 1,000 air alarms and about 320 air raids. So the whole town got completely destroyed.
전쟁은 지나갔지만 키르케네스에는 계속해서 새로운 위기가 찾아왔다. 우리는 냉전의 역사를 치열하게 기록해온 한 언론사를 찾았다.
My name is Thomas Nilsen and I'm editor of the Barents Observer, the only Russian language newspaper in Norway and the only newspaper inside the Arctic Circle that publish in both Russian language and English.
바렌츠 옵서버는 24년 전에 창간됐다. 냉전의 시대가 끝났던 당시 그는 러시아의 민주적 발전을 기대했다. 하지만 역사는 전혀 다른 방향으로 흘러갔다.
After 2014, the Barents Observer has been in trouble in Russia. The security forces wanted to shut us down, wanted to stop our publishing, and in 2019, Barents Observer became the first North European media to be blocked on internet, to be censored by Russian authorities. So welcome to our studio.
바렌츠 옵서버의 작은 스튜디오. 이들은 이제 팟캐스트 방송을 제작한다. 열악하지만 검열 없는 진실을 전하는 공간이다.
Then the Barents Observer will be. I have, during my career as a journalist, I've been maybe 300 times to Russia since the name of the country was Soviet Union. So when I was stopped at the border in 2017 and declared persona non grata, that changed my life totally. The FSB said that the reason why I was declared persona non grata was because I posed a threat to Russia's national security, which is, to me, absurd. I'm not a spy. I have not even got a speeding ticket in Russia. I have not violated any laws. The only thing I have done is my job, journalism.
그는 우리에게 러시아 국경지대를 직접 보여주고 싶어 했다.
You know, the road is the same as it always has been, and the landscape around and so on.
오랜 세월 오갔을 이 길에 한때 러시아와 더 나은 미래를 꿈꾸던 기억이 남아있다.
The border poles, the yellow one is the Norwegian, and the red and green is the Russian border pole. And it's 4 meters in between those border poles, and the border is exactly in the middle, which means that there is. It looks like we are in the middle of nowhere in the snow in the Arctic, but the Norwegian border guards, in cooperation with Schengen Europe, have a very good surveillance of this area. So if we cross over to Russia, it will be 5 or 10 minutes and the police will be here and we will get a big fine. And people that want to go to Moscow and talk with Vladimir Putin and so on. You know, we are 7 billion people on this earth and some of them have crazy ideas.
경계 태세가 삼엄한 국경지대.
The problem is that we are living next door to unpredictable military power. And there are few places in the world with more nuclear weapons than just across the border here from Norway into Russia. And that is because Russia's nuclear ballistic missile submarines have their base only 100 kilometers from the border to Norway. And those are the submarines that are patrolling with nuclear weapons out in the Barents Sea every day.
24시간 감시가 이어지는 198km의 국경선. 국경수비대는 노르웨이에서 상시 무장하는 몇 안 되는 부대다. 우리는 1921년 이래 한 세기 넘게 이 국경을 지켜온 이들에게 정식 인터뷰를 시도했다. 어렵게 국경수비대의 지휘관을 만났다. 그가 우리에게 내준 시간은 단 20분이었다.
My name is Audun Jørstad. I'm the commander of the Jäger Battalion, tasked with guarding the border. That's people the last 60 years dying in service during training. When you operate in the Arctic environment, training very hard. It's occasionally. So the army, Norwegian army, is getting bigger and stronger. We have established a brigade in Finnmark, and this battalion, that's most close to Russia, of course, gets reinforced with more heavy weapons, more soldiers, better infrastructure, and so on.
(2025년) 노르웨이는 냉전 이후 처음으로 새 여단을 창설했다. 핀마르크 여단. 병력을 2배 가까이 늘렸고 포병과 방공부대까지 더해 핀마르크 병력만 약 5천여 명에 이른다.
So that's the big thing on the tactical level. But of course we are close to Russian nuclear submarine bases. The Arctic is full of resources. So there are lots of both military, strategically, and economic interest in the region. And that's something we notice on a daily basis. But we follow the situation in the whole world, actually, because if you think of Kirkenes and this region as a strategic area, you have to pay attention to the surroundings, things happening in Greenland, things happening in the Middle East. So we pay attention to everything to be able to foresee what could happen to us, nuclear threats, second strike capability on the Kola Peninsula, resources, and so on. A war in the Arctic is extremely demanding.
키르케네스를 떠나는 날, 바람이 유난히 차갑고 거칠었다. 앞이 보이지 않는 눈보라를 뚫고 우리의 다음 목적지는 바로 그린란드 나르사크다. 나르사크에는 세계가 가장 탐내는 엄청난 양의 광물 자원들이 묻혀 있다. 그것은 과연 축복일까 저주일까? 그린란드 남부의 작은 시골 마을. 다른 마을과 도로조차 이어지지 않아 오직 배로만 닿는 외딴 곳이다. 그런데 이 마을에서 멀지 않은 크바네펠트 산에서 세계 최대급 희토류와 우라늄이 발견됐다.
Hello. Hi. Welcome to Nasak.
광산업체에서는 마을 발전에 많은 투자를 하고 있다. 주민들의 호감을 얻고 유대감을 쌓기 위해서다.
Do you know how many people is living in Nasak?
I think it's around 1,000 at the moment. I think that's been on a steady decline over the last few years. I think what's happening is that people are slowly moving from the settlements into the bigger towns, and then from the bigger towns into the even bigger towns. So naturally, over time, you have a decline in some of the populations. It's the local preschool. On the right here, you've got the sports hall.
Supermarket.
Yeah, supermarket, which is important, but also the sports hall here. So the football tournament, which ETM is sponsoring this weekend, will be happening here. It's a beautiful view, right? Yeah.
우리는 곧장 20여 년간 이곳에 자리를 잡고 있는 광산업체의 사무실을 방문했다. 호주 회사지만 직원들은 저마다 다른 곳에서 왔다.
I'm a New Zealander,
Okay.
but I live in Australia. Belmar's from Copenhagen, and Jeremy's from. I live with Jeremy in West Australia.
Okay.
그들은 우리에게 크바네펠트 산에서 캐낸 광석들을 보여주었다.
So this is a sample of our ore. This is the Lejuverite, but this is what contains the steenstrappine, which contains the rare earths and the uranium and the zinc sulfide.
세계가 탐내는 자원들이다. 하지만 이건 아주 작은 표본일 뿐 진짜 거대한 광맥은 아직 저 산속의 실체를 드러내지 않은 채 묻혀 있다.
So here we have a geological map of the northern Illimani intrusion. The town of Narsak is just here, out of view. The town of Narsak is located just off the map here, and you can see the road that we will follow tomorrow, which goes out past the farm and up to the base of the mountain.
He's smarter than I am.
Okay. And we're just wondering, is it okay we go to mine now, this afternoon?
It's going to be about -20 up in that valley, so the weather is much better tomorrow morning. 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we can go early because the sun is coming up, you know, before 8 o'clock now.
Yeah, it's, well, yeah, 7:30.
7:30. Yeah.
It'll be really cold up there, and we've got to take some of the buggies.
Historically, China has controlled both the supply and demand of rare earths. There is obviously a want from Western nations to secure their own strategic supply of rare earths.
다음 날 아침 우리는 만반의 준비를 갖추고 크바네 펠트 산으로 향했다. 일반 차량으로는 쌓인 눈을 헤치고 이동할 수 없어 우린 인원을 나눠 버기카를 탔다. (3월에도) 여전히 피부를 에이는 혹한의 바람을 맞으며 한참을 달렸다.
It would bring a great deal of income and revenue to the Greenland as a whole, and a mine life of over 30 years. I mean, we've only drilled 20% of the deposit, so there's a lot more upside moving forward. Well, we've spent nearly $120 million so far to get the project to the status it is now.
The minerals industry is high risk. They suggest that one project in 100. With high risk comes high reward.
현장에 도착하려면 아직 한참 남았는데 힘겹게 눈길을 가르던 버기카가 결국 멈춰섰다. 상황이 예상보다 나쁘다.
Why we stop here? Sorry, it's too deep. The snow's getting too deep. It's too dangerous for us. So it's not worth going up there and us getting stuck for the safety of everybody.
결국 스노우바이크를 불러 최소 인원만 다시 목적지로 향했다. 안내를 맡은 건 눈 덮인 크바네 펠트 산을 오르는데 베테랑이라는 지역 토박이었다. 드디어 개발 현장에 도착했다. 그런데 이 광산은 사실 현재 채굴을 더 이상 진행하지 못하고 있는 상황이다. 우리는 곳곳에서 눈 속에 파묻힌 개발의 흔적을 발견할 수 있었다.
We start over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This area from 5 to 8.
광산 개발이 중단된 데는 해결이 어려운 중대한 문제가 있다.
This is the bunker?
Yeah. This is up the mountain. There is also uranium and rare earth.
This is uranium.
Yeah, there is uranium.
이 광산 개발을 막은 원인은 바로 이곳에서 흔하게 발견되는 우라늄이다. 막대한 자원이 묻혀 있다고 해서 우라늄의 위험성을 외면할 수는 없다.
Well, its current indicated resource is 1.1 billion tons of REO oxide, so it's rare earths. Yes, this is one of the largest rare earth deposits, hard rock deposits on the planet. Yeah, it's extremely large, with the potential to have 30-plus year mine life. I think I think where it's located is why there is so much interest in it. It's right between the US and Europe. There's now refineries being built in Europe and rare earth refineries being built in Europe and the US. And again, I think it boils down to each of those countries and Europe and the US not having to rely on Chinese supply.
우라늄의 위험을 우려한 주민들의 반대는 거셌다. 우리는 이 여론을 앞장서 이끌고 있는 한 정치인을 만났다.
We are many habitats, the majority of habitats in our town, and Nasak area is against the mining project, and we don't want that the mine can ever be opened. But the company is still resisting to let us go, and they are now threatening us by the court.
Greenland's main opposition leader who campaigned on a ticket of higher taxes.
법안 통과는 그린란드 주민들의 손을 들어준 것이었지만 갈등은 지금도 이어지고 있다.
Outgoing Prime Minister Kupik Kleist won.
You are here in Nasak now. As you can see, we have the only food college here in our town. It's the only one in Greenland. And we have the only slaughtery here in our town. We are indeed a food town, and we are risking to lose those if a mining with uranium, thorium, natrium fluoride opens in our backyard.
The amount of revenue that will be produced, the amount of knowledge that will be acquired by the society when we have 300 or 400 jobs, geologists, metallurgists, engineers, all of these jobs that really don't occur in Greenland at the moment. And I think that, the opportunities for Greenland and Greenlanders are immense.
20년 가까이 이어진 대립은 좀처럼 협의점을 찾지 못하고 있다.
Yes, of course there are few who is supporting the mining company and about the economic, and what we have earned is just taxpayers from local peoples working, and we never managed to be rich of those gold pieces, and the history will still going on.
자원은 늘 그 자리에 묻혀 있고 욕망은 앞으로도 이곳에 모여들 것이다. 이 얼어붙은 땅의 앞날은 누구의 손에 달려 있을까? 나르사크에서의 마지막 날, 우린 운 좋게 좀처럼 보기 힘들다는 오로라를 만났다. 이 작은 마을에도 아름다운 미래가 깃들기를. 우리는 나르사크를 떠나 그린란드가 속한 나라 덴마크의 수도 코펜하겐으로 향했다. 전문가들은 그린란드 자원 개발의 가능성을 어떻게 보고 있을까? 우리는 세계 최고로 평가받는 한 광물 지질학자를 만났다. 가장 먼저 그린란드 크바네 벨트에서 촬영한 영상을 보여줬다.
He is a Greenlander, and he just saying that this kind of stone we easily found contain uranium. Is it true?
That is true, and it has been known for more than 100 years actually. The geology of Greenland is very accessible because it has recently been under ice, and now the ice have retreated, not just in the past few years, but since 10,000 years ago. So the rocks are accessible. You can see the geology, and that means that it's easy to find stuff. So Greenland has a good potential for a lot of minerals, and that is what is a source of hope and expectation from a lot of people. Also, Greenland has very little infrastructure, so that also means that prices for activities in Greenland are expensive. There are not two towns in Greenland that are connected by a road. Everything you have to be by ship or by air.
그린란드 경제 실무를 총괄하는 비즈니스 협회장에게도 광산 개발에 대한 의견을 물었다.
We sit on about 24% of the world deposits of rare earth minerals. Now, unfortunately, these don't pay very well, and the need for those are somewhat scarce, but we do have them. And I think it's important to state that Greenland has currently a ban on uranium mining, even as a byproduct. So that is not a potential in Greenland.
세계는 그린란드의 자원에 큰 기대를 건다. 그러나 그만큼 큰 위험도 따른다. 풍부한 자원이 곧 경제적 이득을 뜻하지는 않는다.
The whole globe, there's a globe here, but if you look at the globe and look down on it and you take all the major economies on Earth and connect them, where do all the lines cross? Greenland. Greenland is the most centrally located place on Earth because it's sitting in the middle of all the big population centers in the world. So you have a circle of population centers and big economies, and Greenland is the center.
그린란드의 수도 누크로 왔다. 인구 2만 명 남짓한 이 작은 도시의 옛 이름은 좋은 희망이었다. 지금 누크에는 그린란드의 정부와 의회가 있고 이 땅의 미래가 이곳에서 결정된다. 마침 선거가 한창이었다. 우리가 그린란드 정부 청사를 찾은 건 유력 정치인이자 현 산업광물부 장관인 나야 나타니엘센을 만나기 위해서였다.
But we just saw, I think that we believe we saw the poster on your face, but we didn't understand.
Yeah, but I'm also a candidate for that, but that's not what I'm here as a minister.
도널드 트럼프 대통령은 미국이 그린란드를 가져야 한다고 주장해왔다. 무력 사용 가능성마저 배제하지 않았다. 2025년 1월 트럼프의 아들이 누크를 찾았다. 주민들은 긴장할 수밖에 없었다. 그가 도착한 날 트럼프는 이를 반드시 성사돼야 할 거래라고 했다.
We had the pandemic that showed a lot of countries that their supply chains were too dependent on one country in particular, and they wanted to diversify. We had the war in Ukraine that really showed many countries that, especially in Europe, that their energy dependency was too large on Russia, and that Russia was an enemy in many ways. And in order to change that, you need to maybe speed up the green transition. But the green transition requires a lot of minerals. So a lot of countries started to look to diversify again their supply chains in terms of minerals.
더 이상 경제의 문제만이 아니었다. 자원은 곧 안보의 문제가 되었다.
All of these crises, they come together and they create a situation worldwide where supply chains and access to minerals and access to trading routes become important again.
전문가들은 강대국 중에서도 특히 중국이 그린란드에 영향을 미치려 한다고 분석한다.
The U.S. has been until recently very smart and doing like behind closed door diplomatic scenes in terms of China. So the U.S. has actually been very successful in phasing Chinese project out of Greenland. There's been a couple of cases with the airport here in Nuuk and an old marine station in southern Greenland where there was actually a bid from China to buy it or be involved in those projects, and it didn't come to fruition. So it seems like Washington called Copenhagen, who called Nuuk, and say, yeah, let's try to keep the Chinese out.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to say that for Greenland, we have always been in the eye of the storm, if you will. We have always geographically been placed between superpowers. The baseline is not new, but I think what is new is, of course, that the entire world order is changing as well, and that also affects us.
Greenland wants to have a seat at the negotiation table, being part of those discussions that relates to Greenlandic security as well.
차원을 둘러싼 치열한 경쟁 속에서 그린란드는 거듭 새로운 판에 놓일 수밖에 없다. 우리는 그린란드 북극 이사회를 찾아 북극 외교의 일선에선 덴마크 북극 대사를 만났다.
You have always had, issues between, we don't agree on everything. And have never agreed on everything. And that's the reason why we have this principle of consensus within the Arctic Council. We have to agree, and our work is very much, to find areas of common understanding.
우리는 누쿠 항구로 향했다. 6년 전 확장돼 해운 물류 새로운 거점이 된 곳이다.
Nearly 99% of all supplies for Greenland goes on sea. We don't have any roads between our cities up here, so we depend on shipping and air freight, but mostly shipping when we talk to imports and exports from Greenland. This vessel just next to us is an old cruise vessel. It's a home or hotel now for several hundred soldiers. So we are going to see more of that. And more naval vessels, not only from Denmark, but also from NATO, along the coast of Greenland, and keeping surveillance of Greenland.
그린란드에서는 혹한의 거센 눈보라 블리자드를 종종 만나게 된다. 이 땅의 사람들은 늘 이렇게 거친 자연을 견디며 살아왔다. 그러나 이제 우리는 지금 그린란드에 몰아치는 것이 눈보라만이 아니라는 것을 안다.
And in Greenland, the weather decides. But I know if it's a storm, you cannot travel. You would die. I'm just going to take a picture of you guys. We potentially have a lot of gemstones, rare earths, minerals, even oil, probably, around our waters and around our land. And I think that every Greenlander is thinking it might be a curse. We don't really appreciate Donald Trump's way to go about Greenland. He has called us a big lump of ice. He has been very disrespectful to us. He was talking about us like he could buy people. That was horrible, yeah.
2025년 3월 인구 2만이 안 되는 누쿠에서 약 1000여 명의 시민들이 모여 트럼프의 합병 시도에 반대하는 시위를 벌였다.
We come from ancestors who have survived in this without electricity, without tools, without everything that you can build with today. So we come from very, very tough ancestors. And so I think even when we thought that we actually were going to be invaded by the United States, people here were going, okay, but then we're going to hunker down, like we're hunkered down a bad storm, and wait him out, wait out the Trump administration, because this is what our forefathers have done always. We have been here for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and we're going to stay here hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years after Donald Trump is gone.
인구 5만 7천의 작은 자치정부 그린란드. 그러나 이 땅이 품은 자원과 이 땅을 지나는 바닷길을 두고 미국과 러시아, 중국이 북극의 주도권을 다투고 있다. 그린란드는 그들의 미래를 스스로 정할 수 있을까? 강대국들의 이해가 교차하는 곳, 긴 겨울과 역사의 거친 물살을 견디며 살아낸 땅. 지금 인간은 또 한 번 위기 속에서 새로운 가능성을 엿본다.
This is our key. We have the coastal liner key here, where we have calls from the coastal liners every day. They keep the Russian flag on the tail, on the back of the ship, and they fly the Norwegian flag because that's their port of destination. When they're arriving in a Norwegian port, they carry that flag on the mast there.
So that is a Russian language, isn't it?
That's the Russian, the Kyrillian letters, yes.
So you mentioned it's like normally you have around 20 core a year? Or?
Per year, yes. And it used to be 1,000 per year. So, and we have lost a lot of business here in Kirkenes because of that. And we have had a very friendly relationship with our Russian neighbors for many, many years. No, but maybe my children or grandchildren will have good relations with Russia sometime in the future. I certainly hope so.
이곳은 수심이 깊어 대형 선박도 드나드는 항구다. 2010년 이곳을 떠난 배가 북극을 건너 중국까지 갔다. 이 항구에 큰 희망을 거는 사람들이 있다. 북극을 가로지르는 새뱃길에서 다가올 기회를 보는 이들이다.
You know, we are the first western point after the route where you can have an ice-free access for conventional vessels. We think it will be profitable. Of course, we need to have to do the right things in the right timing. Yeah, the new Rotterdam. Yeah.
우리는 세상의 끝이라 불리던 이 땅에서 얼음이 녹는 속도보다 빠르게 짙어지는 제국의 그림자를 보았다. 하지만 끊임없이 변화하는 인간의 운명과 욕망 속에서 미래는 여전히 정해지지 않았다.